Hello there. Hi, this is Maria, and I am at the Strong Body, Strong Soul show right now. But right now, I'm having a conversation with some fantastic therapists in my area because there's a lot to talk about today, right? Our life is full of challenges. We were going to talk about some other stuff today, but we are switching gears and we're trying to help people by sharing insights on what to do with the crisis that happened last night in Thousand Oaks, California. We are in Agoura Hills, California. We are at the Newmont Center, which is a great place. It is a supportive network for people of all sorts of healing and wellness modalities. But these ladies right here, they are each therapists in their own right. I'm going to introduce you. I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you. We're going to start with Audrey Newmont in the middle here.
Hi, my name is Audrey Newmont. I am a clinical hypnotherapist and a spiritual practitioner.
My name is Stephanie Bean, and I'm a psychotherapist specializing with children of all ages and teaching parent effectiveness training.
I'm Danielle Matthew, and I'm a marriage family therapist, and I specialize in bullying and issues dealing with kids and parents and bullying.
So a little earlier, we were talking about how we can give the kids tools to empower them, how they can protect their peers at school. Kids are still going to school today. What do they do with that if their friend was in the bar shooting last night? But right now, in this conversation, I want to ask these therapists what kinds of insights they have for parents out there in the world. How do we raise our kids in this new world that we find ourselves in? Yes, last night was in a country music line dancing bar in Thousand Oaks, California. But unfortunately, there are activities like this all over. Whether you are in a black community, in a church, or in a Jewish synagogue, stuff like this is happening everywhere. And whether you're a parent or just an adult with teens around you somewhere in your life, I'm hoping that these therapists can give us some insights to help us in how to handle what's going on. Danielle, what do you think?
Yes, I think it's a scary time. I think that's the first thing we have to acknowledge, is that this is a time we've never lived in before, and there's just a lot of danger in the world and scary pieces, and we have to acknowledge it. It doesn't mean we can't face it, but I think it's really a hard time that we have to say, wow, this is really scary, and we don't want to defend against it because it's not going to change anytime soon, unfortunately. So we want to own it and be able to talk to people in our community about how scary it feels and be able to sit with the feelings of the scariness that is happening now in our community, communities as a whole.
And how do you think parents can handle that around their children?
I think they have to look at it themselves first and have awareness and say, you know what, wow, this is a really different time. I am scared for my kids. I'm scared for myself, but in being scared, I can own it and I can acknowledge it, but I can still help them cope once I know how to cope and can deal with my own feelings of awareness and talking to people and being able to feel okay with the scariness going on right now. And I think truthfully, honestly, knowing it's scary and being able to own it is that first step.
Right. I think a lot of parents, myself included, there's so much stuff out there that I never had to deal with as a kid, whether it's suicide or mass shootings. And my kids are coming home from middle school telling me about stuff that's happening.
Yes.
And it's hard to get my head wrapped around it. It is. It's a challenge.
And with social media, I think,
Yes.
and kids and parents even watching it, they're exposed at a whole other level that when I was a child, I didn't have that.
Yes.
And so I think the feelings come up even around being triggered by what the news is saying.
And Audrey, what do you think about, can you overconsume the news, for instance?
You know, it's funny because I do watch the news a lot. You know, I really want to know what's going on in the world.
Yes.
But it's very interesting. I can watch the news because when I'm watching, I'm holding it as a prayer request. I'm literally understanding, yes, there are people out there who will go into a bar and do what they did. There's things that are going on in the world, in other countries. There's just this moment in time. And one of the things that really affects me is the environment, what's going on with that. And what I do is I pay attention, and I'm aware, and I'm focused on any and all solutions. So in a moment like this, my solution is, how do we come together as a community and support each other? My solution is, how do we manage that fear? How do we find a way to channel that fear into something that is constructive in any way, shape, or form? You know, unfortunately, a lot of the time when I'm watching the news, I'm holding it as a prayer request. So I'm literally in prayer and focused on the peace. I'm focused on anything that I can focus on that will bring me back to what I know to be true.
Right.
And not getting lost in the fear, not getting lost in the hate and the bitterness.
Right.
And I'm going to just say, sometimes like today, it's a really big challenge to do that.
It is. Yeah. Earlier on my show, I was talking about exactly that gratitude. Because even in the face of such a tragedy, I can prayerfully say, I am grateful that I was not in the Borderline bar last night. I have been there. I'm so grateful that I was not. I'm so grateful that my son is not old enough yet to be in a college night bar like that. It's coming in the next few years, and stuff like this can happen, but I'm grateful right now that my family's safe.
And being present in the
And
moment.
being present and knowing that it happened. I can't hide from it either and pretend it did not happen.
Yeah.
Because they're going to hear about it too. And as parents, now you share parenting tools.
Yes. I do.
What and how does that relate to right now? What would you say to the parents out there?
Well, I would say that kids and parents need to be talking about it, that they need to express it and be heard. And as parents, I think, and I'm a parent as well, I think that it's really easy to reassure, and I think that kind of blocks the feelings.
Like a false
That-
sense of safety?
Yeah, because the kids are feeling fearful
Uh-huh.
or having anxiety, and to say, yeah, this is that makes sense that you'd be fearful.
Right.
That was a very scary thing.
And to actually go
And then-
further and say, I'm afraid too.
Yes, you could say that too. And then also, I think it's helpful to have a plan. Like, if you're in a dangerous situation,
Yes.
what can we do? How can we stay connected?
Yes.
A text, or, so that for them can be kind of reassuring and have a sense of security.
Yes.
That they can do something if ever they're in that situation. 'Cause
Well, what do you think about all three of you? I think a lot of us as parents, we have to admit, obviously, that we're role models for our kids. And how we react to situations like this is going to teach them how to behave. And if we admit to them that we are afraid, I think the whole definition of courage, right, is being afraid and acting anyway. And I thought the most moving thing this morning when I was watching the news conference was the sheriff being on there, and the sheriff that got killed, who went in, he called his family first before he went in. And his family's got to be so proud of him, of course.
yes.
You don't have to. Anybody out there, you do not have to be that sheriff running into that building, but there are things that you can do in your own way, in your life, to be that model for your kids, how to react and how to behave in a crisis like this.
And if I can
Yes.
say also, like, if you can find community events, I know that at Newmont Center this evening there's going to be a community gathering, and I think those kinds of things, we need each other,
Yes.
and we need to come together and support one another.
And have that connection.
Yeah.
And not be isolated from each other.
Yeah, yeah. I want to thank the three of you so very much for spending some time here with me and with all of you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks.
And bless you all. Keep you and your children safe. And by the way, we were talking a little bit ago about whether you are a parent yourself or not. There are kids around you. You are a model for that next generation, whether you acknowledge it or not. And no matter what part of the country you're in, may God bless you and keep you safe. Thank you for watching.